The year is 1776. The world knows it as the birth of American independence. But what if the real story of America before independence is far darker and far more uncertain than we imagine? Behind the fireworks and the famous signatures lay betrayals, secret debates, and a nation on the edge of collapse. Before the Declaration of Independence, there was doubt, division, and desperation. This is the untold story of America before freedom. The story they dawn to teach you in school. Stay with us for the full documentary, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden history. The colonies of North America in the mid-18th century were not yet a united nation but 13 scattered, restless provinces. Stretching from New England's rocky shores to the plantations of Georgia, these colonies were bound together not by loyalty to one another, but by a common dependence on the distant crown of Britain. London saw them as outposts, raw resources feeding an empire. But on the ground, tension simmered. Merchants grumbled about taxes that drained their profits. Farmers cursed the red-coated soldiers quartered in their towns. Yet not all colonists wanted independence. Many still toasted King George III, hoping for reform rather than rebellion. The world of 1775 was fragile. Just months before the Declaration, Boston had erupted in blood, muskets cracking at Lexington and Concord. The Continental Congress was still new, its delegates wary of speaking treason too loudly. George Washington, a Virginian planter turned commander, struggled to forge farmers and shopkeepers into an army capable of standing against the world's most powerful empire. It was not yet a story of victory, but of uncertainty. And in the shadows of history, America's fate hung in the balance. The year before, independence was marked not by triumph, but by fear. In Philadelphia, the Continental Congress convened under candlelight. The air was heavy with secrecy, each delegate weighing the cost of open rebellion. Some, like John Adams, demanded independence, immediate and total. Others, like John Dickinson, urged caution, pleading that war with Britain was madness. The room was divided. The colonies fractured. Even the idea of calling themselves Americans was radical. Meanwhile, Washington's army camped outside Boston, starving and ill-equipped. Desertion was constant. Soldiers' feet bled through the snow, while rumors spread that the British planned to crush the rebellion with overwhelming force. And across the Atlantic, Britain was preparing exactly that. King George III declared the colonies in open rebellion. Mercenaries from Germany were enlisted, fleets readied, soldiers prepared to sail. To London, the rebellion was not a revolution, it was treason. But danger was not only from outside. Inside the colonies, loyalists whispered in taverns, loyal to the crown and ready to betray their neighbors. Families split apart. Brother against brother, father against son. Even Benjamin Franklin, that master of diplomacy, saw his own son William stand with the king against him. The streets burned with pamphlets, the most famous of all written by Thomas Paine. Common sense ignited a fire across the colonies, speaking directly to farmers and merchants who had never before dreamed of independence. The sun never shined on a cause of greater worth, Paine declared, and for the first time the people believed it. But belief alone would not win freedom. It was only when Washington's ragged army forced the British from Boston in March 1776 that hope flickered. Still, as spring turned to summer, no one could say for certain if the dream of independence would survive. By July 1776, the debate reached its breaking point. Inside Independence Hall, the delegates faced a decision that would either unite or destroy them. Should they cut ties with the empire that had birthed them, or bow once more to the king? The stakes were deadly. Each man knew that signing a Declaration of Independence was an act of treason. Capture would mean the gallows. Their names, once written, could not be erased. On July 2nd, the vote was taken. Against all odds, the colonies agreed they would be free. Thomas Jefferson's words, sharpened by debate and edits, were read aloud. They declared not just separation, but a new philosophy, that all men are created equal, endowed with rights no king could take away. And yet, outside those walls, independence was still fragile. Britain's navy loomed, thousands of soldiers sailing to New York. The revolution was only beginning, and its outcome was far from certain. But in that room, in that moment, America was born. The story of America before independence is not one of easy triumph, but of risk, division, and doubt. The men who signed their names on the Declaration were not heroes in their own eyes. They were desperate men, gambling everything. But that gamble changed the world. The colonies, once scattered, found a shared identity. The words of 1776 would echo through centuries, inspiring movements for freedom across the globe. Yet it is important to remember, independence was not inevitable. It was fragile, uncertain, and born in the shadows of fear. What we celebrate today with parades and fireworks was, in truth, a moment when the future seemed ready to collapse. And perhaps that is the true legacy of 1776, that freedom was not granted, but seized against all odds. This was the real story of America before independence. If you found this untold history powerful, like, share, and subscribe for more hidden stories from the past.